This is Edward Harshman speaking. This video is about how I avoided an IRS audit legally. It is not a sovereign citizen-based approach, one that challenges the legitimacy of government or that tries to claim special exemption from Internal Revenue Service and other tax liabilities. I got a notice of an IRS 4-hour audit a few years ago. What follows is how I was able to avoid the audit and minimize the difficulty. I hope you never get an audit, but follow these instructions if you do, and I think your difficulty will be kept to a minimum. No laws are broken. It is legally safe. Additional benefit: you will not incur hostility from the Internal Revenue Service if you try by following these instructions. Therefore, you will have no reason to fear future harassment due to your actions here. This is not an appeal to the frequently encountered dislike of the Internal Revenue Service. Challenging the authority of the IRS is reasonable if done through the legislative process. I disapprove of the current income tax process myself, and I have said so. The IRS and its enforcers are very powerful. Expect to lose if there is a demonstration of force. There are several steps to what I did. First, learn what the IRS says about its audit process. Go to the website and look up the process. See the description. Second, remember that budget cuts and political nonsense have left the IRS with too few auditors for its audit workload. The auditor wants the audit over quickly, and so do you. Help the auditor out. Third, review your tax return in case you made an error in your favor. I found one in my own tax return. Fourth, if you discover such an error, declare it in a letter to the auditor. But there are important things to remember when writing that letter. Your letter needs to be courteous and friendly. Auditors get angry responses often. You don't want to be on the receiving end of an auditor's frustration or burnout. Do not disagree with any false or misleading statements unless you have proof or strong evidence in your favor. Use partial agreement instead. Fogging is the name given to this arguing tactic by Batch and Wyden in their book The Intimate Enemy. You can hit a wall, but you cannot hit fog. It gives no resistance. If the auditor makes a statement that you generally disagree with, then seek a component of what it says that you do agree with and use it in your reply. This tactic makes arguing very difficult. Admit your mistakes. If you made a mistake on your tax return, assume an audit will find it whatever happens, and you will speed up the process of resolving the difficulty if you disclose what is being sought. In your letter, explain that 1. You are eager to cooperate with the IRS and resolve any mistakes or confusion. 2. You hope the information you provided is sufficient. 3. You will be happy to answer remaining questions by letter and hope a formal audit will not be necessary. Last, in your letter, ask what rules exist for making an audio recording of the audit if an audit and visit to the IRS is still necessary. A quick review. First, review the Internal Revenue Service's materials about an audit. Second, remember that an auditor is likely to be overloaded with work, and the need by an auditor to get the audits finished quickly is your friend. Third, review your tax returns and look for errors that may have provoked the audit. And fourth, write a carefully designed letter to the auditor, hoping that the audit is not necessary. Fifth, enclose a money order with any payment that you owe or think you owe due to your error. You are cooperating by sending payment before it is even requested, but you are also hiding your bank information. If all goes well, then the IRS will accept your explanation and send you a bill for the interest on the amount you owe. You already paid the principal, but because you paid it late, you owe interest. If your attempt fails and the auditor nevertheless makes you come in for the audit, then you are stuck with the audit, but you broke no laws, and you have at the very least reduced the magnitude of the audit with your explanation and established an attitude of goodwill. In my case, I received a very nice letter from the auditor telling me that no audit was necessary, and a second error was found in my tax return so that, after receiving the payment, the IRS sent not a bill for interest, but a small refund. Summary of the method. 1. Review the IRS instructions on audits and how to respond to them and what to expect. 2. Review your tax returns and look for errors. 3. If you find any, then declare them to the auditor and send payment for any tax due. 4. Keep your correspondence courteous and informative, but insist on knowing the protocol for audio recordings of audits if a personal visit to the IRS cannot be avoided. The end.